This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Good Thursday morning to all of you wonderful sports people. It is another edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show where we talk about nothing but straight nonsense for an hour. Well, we talk about sports for a good hour, but sometimes it's a little bit of nonsense, a little bit of craziness. Good morning to all of you tuning in on Periscope. Hello, nice to see all of you.
A little bit of Monica in your life.
A little bit of Jessica, a little bit of Tara, Rita. I don't even really know.
You know those are the names.
Isn't that what it is?
Ridiculous.
Okay. I think that's what it was.
You're
yes.
nuts.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure who Owen is, but Baltimore Ravens apparently just signed him. So whoever you are on Periscope, congratulations? Question mark. Grant, Google that. Who's Owen? Owen 3. Oh, that's awful. That's awful. Well done. Way to start the show off with a joke this morning.
Nice. I like that one.
Well done.
Good
Round
job.
of applause from us. Well done.
I like that one.
My goodness. Way to get the show rolling this morning. Well, we just want to remind all of you that you can get us right here on Spreaker.com and Periscope Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 a.m. Central. You can also get us on Sports Radio America from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time on Live 365 and TuneIn. And then you can get us on demand anytime you want on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and on Spreaker.com.
You can also find us on Facebook at the Bax and Grant Sports Show, and we are also on Twitter and Instagram at BG Sports Show. Baxter is on Twitter at Baxter Colburn, and I am at Grant's Rant BGSS.
Yes, indeed. And if you ever want to get a hold of the show, you feel free to shoot us an email at bgsportshow@gmail.com as well. A lot of exciting things to get to on the show today. We'll be joined later on in the show by the Encyclopedia of Football, David Kenyon from Bleacher Report. You're not going to want to miss it. He'll be helping us preview the upcoming Green Bay Packers and San Francisco Levi wearers. Now we'll call them the 49ers. And a few other of the top games around the NFL as well. You're not going to want to miss that. And we'll be offering a few other exciting things later on in the show you're not going to want to miss. But first, Grant, let me take a selfie. No, but first,
There's more.
I'm going to quiz you, Grant.
All right.
So for those of you that listen to our show, you know that I like to pull random quizzes and just test Grant's knowledge about things in the sports world. One big thing that we talked about a lot during the offseason of the NFL is free agency,
Right.
rightfully so.
Yes.
So I felt I was necessary to come up with a quiz called Free Agent or Not. And the way that works is this upcoming free agent season, I'm going to list off 10 names for you, and you need to tell me if they're going to be a free agent or not. And they're all relatively familiar players. I'm not going to give you an obscure fourth-string punter on the Colts because no one cares. It's a thing. It's not a thing.
I was going to say, somebody has
Nobody
four
carries
punters.
two punters in the regular season. Nobody does. So you need to tell me, Grant, of whether or not the player that I list for you is going to be a free agent in 2016 or no. Sound good?
Sure.
All right. First name. Here we go. Randall Cobb.
No.
That is correct. Michael Crabtree.
No.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Sam Bradford.
No.
Incorrect.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I knew that, actually. I knew that one.
Yeah, Sam Bradford.
'Cause
I'm surprised they only signed him for a one-year deal.
Yeah, they were talking about it a couple weeks ago that they were. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay. We're trying out a new game here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show called Free Agent or Not. Grant has to determine if the people that I am reading off to him will be free agents in 2016 or not. Tim Tebow on Periscope. I believe that yes. I believe he's.
I believe he'll be a free agent.
He's a forever free agent.
Right.
He's just a media hog, is what he is. All right. Jamal Charles, Grant. Free agent or not?
Yes.
That is incorrect.
I'm doing real well here.
1 for 4 so far. Next one. Matt Forte. Free agent or not?
Yes.
Correct.
I knew that
I
one.
wonder what's going to happen
knew
with
that
Forte.
one. They were talking about possibly trading him.
Do it.
Well, they were talking because the Bears have been signing away some of their players. Kind of been a fire sell over in Chicago, and they were like, "It's Forte's last season on his deal. They might trade him away.
Trade him. You
And
could probably get something solid for him.
They said he was off the table, but they said
He's never off
like
the table.
see in November. How or before the trade deadline, like a week or so before the trade deadline, then the Bears were like, then we'll see. So
Trade
he's
him to
now really off the
Trade
table.
him to the Packers.
I'd be okay
go.
with that.
Double running back system with Lacey and Forte. Let's
And then you
go.
have Starks and Kuhn in there. Come up with some like
We've
weird
got the Legion
four-back
of
set.
Zoom. We're gonna go to
No, it's
pistol.
more like-
yeah.
Like not the Legion of really big running
Legion
backs.
of Boom. The new one with a big capital B instead of like get out of the way.
With footballs for O's instead of actual O's.
Yes, absolutely. All right, next one for you here is we're trying to play the new game called Free Agent or Not, Grant. The man, BJ Raji, free agent or not?
Yes.
That is correct. He will be a free agent next year. This one I was not aware of. Free agent or not, Bobby Wagner.
Sure. Yes.
Correct. Yes. Well
I
done.
had no idea.
You're above 500 now, Grant.
Woo!
Free agent or not, Richard Sherman.
Yes.
Incorrect.
Okay, I didn't know.
This one especially. Here we go. All right. I was like, oh, maybe Richard. That'd be a good one. Sneak it in there. All right. Free agent or not, Mason Crosby.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to say yes because it's been a while.
That is correct.
Okay.
Mason Crosby will be a free agent. And then the last one, Grant, free agent or not, Frank Gore.
Oh, I don't think so. No,
That
I'm going
is
to go with no.
correct. Well done. So,
'Cause
Grant,
he
out of
just
10.
got moved.
He did.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I don't think he was.
Grant goes 6 for 10. Not terrible.
Hey, I made a turnaround from
You
the
made
really
a good-
bad,
yeah,
the really bad
He
beginning.
started 1-4, made a bit of a run, and then Richard Sherman tripped you up as he usually does for most people, and then still finished the season pretty strong.
Yeah, it is.
6 wins, 4 losses, not bad.
Not bad, not bad,
Yeah,
not
no,
bad.
So, how'd you think of the new game? Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. It makes you think.
It
makes
does.
you think hard. It's like, oh, did this person get traded? And has it been a while since they got a new
Yeah.
contract? Did they resign?
I was debating between either giving you a free agent quiz or giving you a first name spelling test.
Oh, I would have failed. I would have failed.
I was thinking of like
miserably.
Demarius and Ladanian.
I would have failed miserably.
Yes, I think we should take a moment to answer the question asked to us on Twitter. Do either the Packers on Periscope? Do either the Packers or the Patriots have a perfect regular season? Gosh, that's a very good question. So thank you for asking that. I forget your username. I think it was Kittery or something of that nature. Grant, do you have any initial thoughts about that? My initial thought is to say that Green Bay will likely not have a perfect regular season.
Right, and I would actually prefer that because it just adds way too much media pressure, and you have to look at the Packers' schedule. It's not the easiest.
It's really not.
Falcons level. Okay, so you have the 49ers, which shouldn't be too difficult. You have the Rams,
Yep.
which aren't a bad team, but that should be a win. You have the Chargers, that should be a win, but then you have the Broncos, you have
That's
the
hard.
Panthers, you have then you have the Lions, then you have arguably the Vikings could be a challenge. You have the Bears, Lions again, Cowboys
Romo should
with
be
Tony
back,
Romo
yep.
and Des Bryant back by that time, possibly. Yeah, then you have the Raiders, which
Don't fall asleep on the Raiders.
and then the Cardinals
Yeah.
at Arizona. So that's going to be a tough game. Then you have the
Finish
Vikings.
with Minnesota.
Yeah,
I don't see a
That's a
real
tougher
I don't see a
schedule.
logistical way for them to go for it, or not 4-0, just to go 16-0.
Go for it. Go for it.
Now,
Fourth
looking
down.
at the Patriots, as we're trying to figure out the answer to your question here, with the Packers, it's very difficult to see them going undefeated this season. For the Patriots having an opportunity to go undefeated this season, let's see here if the internet wants to work in our favor or not here. Well, they've got the Cowboys, the Colts, the Bills, the Broncos. They play the Eagles. Yeah, I think there's still too many decent teams on their schedule that could cause...
just one, not maybe.
It's not an Atlanta schedule.
Yeah, it's not like they're gonna miss the playoffs by any means.
No,
But
I think Green Bay and New England will both win 13 games this year.
it's more than likely they'll drop a game or two because Green Bay is always good for stuff like that.
Yep. Just always happens traditionally.
They'll always drop one random game near the end of the season, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots did that. I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Luck makes his turnaround point of the season week 6
and you know
against
that
the Patriots.
and you know that game is going to be stupidly over media publicized and be like, Deflategate, like, here we go, bringing it back.
×2.
Exactly.
Or the Jets could also make a very decent run at taking them on, because there's always been that rivalry. Not so much with, now I'm forgetting his name, now that I brought him up, of course.
For the Jets?
The old coach.
Rex Ryan,
thank you. Now that Rex Ryan is gone.
He's at the Bills now.
Yes.
So he still has to deal with the Patriots twice a year.
Yes. But yeah, so the Jets rivalries died down a little bit, but still there. So I could see the Jets possibly taking off a win. Broncos, never sleep on them. So yeah, I'm really
a Peyton Brady Bowl is always interesting.
Always.
I feel like the fans love a good
a throwback to the old. Throwback to the old.
Yeah, we haven't had a good Manning Bowl in years. I think the Manning Bowl is kind of like the Olympics. I think it happens every 4 years.
Well, I don't think it's. Is it going to happen again?
Probably not. Peyton's more than likely. If Peyton wins the Super Bowl this year, he's done. If Peyton doesn't make the Super Bowl this year, it depends on how healthy he is.
Maybe another year.
All depends on how healthy he is.
Yeah, but then to all the people who said he can't throw past 20 yards, he was doing pretty good last week.
Man's got a cannon, all right? Let the man.
He was still doing pretty well last week. There was a couple that he was throwing 20-plus on dots. So
he was probably targeting Papa John running down the sidelines.
Right? That would be a sight to see.
Oh, gosh.
Just throw Papa John in a Denver uniform for a play and just send him on a go route.
All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, David Kenyon of Bleacher Report will be with us on the phone, talk about the upcoming week of action in the NFL, and help us preview the Packers 49ers game. We'll be right back. This is the Bax and Grand Sports Show. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
I felt like giving a little extra flair this morning,
Flair. And all that jazz.
Woo!
Hello world.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Is my life suddenly a musical? We're just breaking into song and dance?
Oh, I was listening to Show Tunes hardcore yesterday. Oh, I forgot what other famous Chicago song I listened to the other day.
Cell Block Tango?
No, not that one.
What? It's like the best one.
Oh, yeah, I know, but it was on a shuffle playlist of 800 plus Show Tunes. I didn't pick and choose. I just went crazy. It was another one, but yes, Cell Block Tango.
Fantastic.
That one's
if you've never seen the movie Chicago, go see it.
I actually have that song on my phone. It is great.
Well done.
But yeah, get
a little
listen.
culture in your life. Get a little.
It's good.
All
it's
right.
good.
It
Moving
is
on
Thursday.
Not show tune stuff.
Not just show tunes. We'll play a tune for him because David Kenyon comes on the show as he
I
does
love his jam.
on Tuesdays and
So
Thursdays.
cool.
David Kenyon of Bleacher Report is here with us. Good morning, David. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I didn't know I had theme music.
Oh, I felt like I was listening to myself. I was like, was that? Are you? Yes, you have theme music. Do you not know that you have theme music?
No, I like it though.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're special.
You have theme music. That's one of the little things we do for those that we love here on the Bax and Kren Sports Show.
Yeah, so sorry about that. I was just so preoccupied. You said I had a slow jam, and I'm like, all right.
Pulls it up. He was like, all right, cool. Yeah, no, man, you're special, man. You got your own theme. Not many people do, but you're one of the few and the proud that have one.
Well, I'm honored.
Well, you should be. No,
You
I'm
and
glad.
proud, but not one of the Marines.
That's
But,
not. He's more of he works for Bleacher Report, so he defends our country by providing truth, justice, and the American way for the sports world.
Oh, is that defending the country?
It works. Don't
Not
worry about
really.
it. Anyway,
Not
David,
really.
football. We love football. Week 4 already. I swear, we're gonna blink and we're gonna be talking about how awful the Pro Bowl is. I
It
swear.
wasn't too bad last year,
That's
though.
true. That's true.
To be fair, it was not too bad last year.
That is true, to be fair. All right, well, I want to start right away with the Green Bay Packers as they take on the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. They have a pretty awful history against the 49ers, let's be honest. In recent years, Colin Kaepernick made his living basically off of one playoff game against the Packers and has then such forgot how to play football. But going into this game, it's going from the Midwest all the way out west now. Aaron Rodgers going back to his home state. I'm not really worried about this game, but is there a few key matchups that Packer fans and even 49er fans need to keep an eye on for this one?
Well, the biggest thing that the Packers need to do is make sure Colin Kaepernick cannot use his legs right away. And as you'd mentioned, that's what burst him officially onto the national scene was that playoff game. He ran for like 150 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But that's exactly what Tyrann Mathieu of the Arizona Cardinals had said in an interview earlier this week, that once they were sure that they could stop Kaepernick's legs, and the 49ers didn't even come out trying to get him started on the ground. They knew they were all good. And then he threw 4 interceptions and played perhaps the worst game of his career.
Now, with Colin Kaepernick, it's weird because he's fast. Let's all be honest. He's got a very, decent amount of speed tucked away inside of him, but why would you not, if you're game planning as a coach, why would you not want to at least try the run? Try a few read options or whatever bootleg plays you need to. Use that sort of opportunity to get that man outside, and I feel like that's something traditionally Green Bay has struggled with. We saw Russell Wilson do fairly well outside the pocket when they played Seattle, and we've seen Colin Kaepernick as well do it that way. So is it an opportunity still, I feel like, for a mobile quarterback against a Green Bay defense, or what exactly is a good way to view this?
Yeah, this is actually a pretty bad week for the Packers to play San Francisco, coming off the short week. Early season, all the injuries are catching up to them right now. They have no linebackers. And the biggest thing with Kaepernick and his legs is he was so dominant because teams didn't practice or prepare to stop the read option.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't quite know how to do it yet because of the limited tape that there was.
Yes.
But now, once they figured out how to roll a linebacker and keep another guy in contain while letting the defensive end crash,
Mm-hmm.
that totally eliminated, when run properly, the read option. Because the quarterback, he reads the defensive end who crashes.
Yep.
So if the defensive end crashes to the running back, Kaepernick is going to keep the ball. And then you have a linebacker who goes and attacks Kaepernick, and then you have another guy in contain for Kaepernick whatever way he goes. It's easy to stop. It really is. So I don't think that they ran that before Kaepernick had thrown his first interception against Arizona, and then they're playing from behind, and then he throws
And it
another
just got
interception.
ugly.
And they were both pick sixes, too, so it's not like oh, San Francisco's defense had a shot.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, they're down 2, 3, 4 touchdowns
Yes.
before you could blink.
Yeah, and that was, I think, like you mentioned, you pretty much blinked, and suddenly San Fran is like, oh, right, football. We should probably figure out how to start playing that because the Cardinals are doing really mean things to us and getting their fantasy owners a lot of points, which I'm sure nobody objected to. Now, Andrew Corliss for the Packers, he's not the starting tight end, but he was just placed on injury reserve yesterday with the option to return. That's just what they're hoping to do. Does his departure from the Packers offense make a big difference for them, or is, like we've seen pretty much without Aaron Rodgers as well, that it doesn't really matter who's on the field? Aaron Rodgers is going to find anybody, regardless if it's Jordy Nelson on the field, or Jeff Janis, or Ty Montgomery, or Randall Cobb.
Well, of course, Andrew Corliss is not exactly the key to the Packers' offensive success, but there is a noticeable drop-off from him to Kennard Backman. And does it matter? I mean, you're probably splitting hairs. Your team isn't going to live and die by the borderline starting tight end.
No.
Corliss has the experience, and that's very valuable. But is he a great blocker? He could be better. I don't know what Backman is going to bring. I don't know if Green Bay is going to try to go more 3 wide, 1 tight end sets, not to go as much under center. I don't know. But I wouldn't be concerned. Corliss is a nice piece to have, but you'd like to see Rodgers become the starter here this year anyway. And I would never wish an injury on somebody, and it's never a good thing. But for Rodgers, this is a big, big time because his snap count is going to be a little bit higher.
So if anybody has him for fantasy, is he worth starting this week or in the next few weeks, or do you still wait a little bit?
Well, I haven't seen enough consistently, unless you are in a points per reception league. I mean, he's going to get you 5 or 6 a game, and if that's what you need, great. But if you have him in a standard scoring lead, I'd still like to see him get over about 40 yards a couple times, because if he gets 40 yards, you're like, all right, okay, that's just my tight end. But if he gets 20 yards and a touchdown, you're like, okay, well, cool.
Yeah, that's my guy right there. Glad I put him in. Yeah,
My
no,
boy.
it's so hot and cold when it comes to that stuff. Grant, questions about this game for the man?
No, that was pretty much all I had. Well, actually, now thinking about it, I actually did just think of a question.
Hey, you're welcome.
We were just talking about Colin Kaepernick and his way to move and running some options. With Carlos Hyde, do you see a dual running threat at all happening in this game? Because he has some okay numbers coming into this game. He has 262 yards on the year and 2 touchdowns. Do you think that he is going to provide much of a problem for the Green Bay Packers defense, whose run defense has been fantastic these last 2 weeks?
I don't see Carlos Hyde being much of a factor. If he is a factor, that's where you're going to run into your problems because, like you said, Green Bay's run defense, and I'm going to say surprisingly good.
Yeah, that's the best
Mike
way to put it.
I love Mike Daniels, and Julius Peppers is pretty good. But I am shocked that the Packers have played as well as they have with Clay Matthews as an inside linebacker. He has been terrible as an inside linebacker. You saw the biggest difference. They put him, technically it was like a nose tackle, defensive tackle spot, but they just let him rush. They put him on the outside. He got to the quarterback both times. I mean, put the guy where you know he's going to work.
Yeah.
The problem there, actually, is Clay is so aggressive that he will overrun the running lane.
Well, we've seen that multiple times, even just throughout his career as a whole. Even I feel like when he plays on the outside, that you'll see Clay Matthews get so jacked to get in the backfield, like you said, he'll just blow straight over the running lane and be like, "Oh wait, there's the guy 20 yards upfield. Whoopsie!"
Exactly. So there is a little bit of a dilemma where on running downs, it might be better for Clay to be a bad inside linebacker.
I can understand that. Yeah,
I could see it.
Huh. Well, that's not a bad. I mean, I'd rather Clay be on the outside, obviously, but with the limited options in the middle, it's hard to really see because I think Clay Matthews plays his best football when he is rushing from the outside.
Right, and I don't think anybody is disagreeing that he's a better outside linebacker, but to say he's a bad inside linebacker, I wouldn't go that far. I think he's still a comparable inside linebacker because just how good of a player he is. No matter where you put him, I feel like he'll do a decent job. But yeah, I do agree with you that, and yes, like you said, when they did put him on the outside, because they're only doing that maybe 5 or 6 snaps a game. But when they do, he does put constant pressure on the quarterback, so he is better on that outside linebacker position. But if you're the Packers, what do you do? Because, like Baxter, you said their inside linebackers aren't the greatest thing in the world.
They're also without Sam Barrington, too. So
correct.
That hurts them. And then it's the fact of, do you trust a rookie out of Michigan, Jake Ryan, to get all the plays called that need to happen in the middle? You obviously lose a great signal caller in A.J. Hawk now. He's down at a different team. So there's not a lot of guys left on the roster that can play the middle linebacker spot well. And we saw, now his name's escaping me. The guy that they just recently signed, David, from... he's an inside linebacker. I can't think of his name now. They just signed him literally like a week ago to fill in a spot now that they lost somebody. Oh, my God.
Joe Thomas?
Yes. I was like, I know he's got a name of somebody else. Joe Thomas. He's another guy that's now playing for them, and he played fairly well in their last game, but he does add a little bit more depth. But the linebackers, I think, in question are still a big question for the Packers moving forward. So whether or not this game ends up being I don't feel this game is going to be a very close contest. I feel that even though there is a bit of history between Green Bay and San Francisco, that Colin Kaepernick is going to be similar to Jay Cutler in this game and throw several interceptions and potentially give the game away when there might be an opportunity for a victory or a go-ahead score. So I've got Green Bay winning this game by about 3 scores. Grant? David, whoever you are.
Go ahead, Grant.
Either
go
way.
ahead, Grant.
Grant, go ahead.
No, at Baxter, I was actually thinking the same thing, that we'd have kind of around the same where I was predicting last week, but I was actually going to go around the lines of 31-10.
Okay. Yeah, I was reading some of the comments here on ESPN.com about their preview article, and somebody dropped a 45-10 reference.
Okay, that's a little excessive.
I'm like, that might be a bit much. But I
mean, I could see it. I could definitely see it happening, especially after the 5-touchdown game that Aaron Rodgers just came off of, the 3-touchdown game that Randall Cobb just came off of. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. All right, David, your prediction for the Packers and 49ers game?
Well, I don't think it's going to be as much of a blowout, and I do think the 49ers score more than 10 points. It won't get carried away with that. I think it's looking at like a 34-16, 17 kind of game. Just depends on how many times San Francisco can make a field goal. Or better, how many times the Packers hold them to a field goal. I do think San Francisco has a little bit of a bounce-back game because of the short week for Green Bay, a little bit of a defensive issue.
Okay.
But, I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
The man is on fire right now.
He's going to complete about 85% of his passes against this defense. It's terrible. Beyond terrible.
How is that terrible? If you're a Packers fan, that's fantastic.
Love it.
Love it. I would not be upset at all. All right, David, well, before we let you go, why don't you give us 2 other games that NFL fans need to be keeping their eye on during Week 4 action?
Well, let's see. I personally really like Houston-Atlanta because, as I had kind of mentioned 2 days ago, Atlanta's schedule is pretty soft here. And I was actually talking with one of my NFL friends. He's a radio host in Denver, and he was like, you know what? Atlanta could go undefeated. And I'm like, wait, what?
There's no way.
And
no. Well, I mean, maybe, but no.
Yeah. I mean, that schedule's so bad.
That's true.
So
this
is kind of a sticking point here is what can the Texans do? Their defensive line is outstanding.
Yeah.
If they can even kind of stop Julio Jones, I think this could be a really fun game to watch. So I'll be watching that one.
Okay.
Kansas City, Cincinnati, very underrated game. I don't think that's going to get enough talk Kansas City's losses are to great teams. Cincinnati's on fire, so that's a good one. St. Louis, Arizona, there's a little bit of an intriguing factor for the Rams because you never know what they're going to do.
True.
Like
that
the
wild
first
card.
week, they always play Seattle tough, and then they just get dominated by Pittsburgh, who has a terrible defense. They lose to Washington. I mean, so they're just kind of a random grab bag.
How do you lose to Washington? I mean, come on, guys.
Very
it's
carefully.
Yeah, very
carefully.
very horribly.
Dallas, New Orleans. If Drew Brees is back, it'll be a fun game to watch. I think. I don't know if it'll be necessarily good football, but I think it'll be fun to watch.
And I think when the NFL planned this game back before the season started, they're like, "Oh, Tony Romo, Drew Brees on Monday Night Football. Sure, that's going to be a fun game." And then, then they end up losing.
Then
pretty
that
much
happened.
all the marquee stars from the game, and it's like Brandon Whedon, Luke McCown. Who's gonna win?
No one cares.
Let's flip a coin at midfield, call it a night, and everyone can go home. All right, good game, everybody. Good game. That might not be the worst idea.
All right. Now, David, I do have a quick question for you.
I got an answer.
So, Andrew Luck has been posted day to day. Now, nothing to do with fantasy.
I might be slightly to do with it.
No, nothing to do with fantasy. This is actually completely real life related.
Yes.
So, you have, if Andrew Luck does not play,
Yep.
does the Jaguars have a chance to win this game against the Colts?
Upset.
Do they have a chance? Sure. I don't think Luck is going to not play, though. I believe he will be in there. He had said he's day-to-day, but will be okay. Chuck Pagano, the head coach, says he has supreme confidence, so that seems like extensively probable.
I have extreme confidence that there's a slightly average above chance that you could think about maybe playing.
Yeah, so I would say that Andy's still going to have good old Andy Luck back there. I just
Unfortunately.
Who calls him Andy Luck?
I do.
Well, since when is that a thing?
Since I started saying that to my college roommate.
Can we get that a hashtag trending then? A hashtag Andy Luck?
Andy Luck? You've never heard someone say
Never.
You know what I just
gotta get out more.
Apparently, we need to hang out more or something.
Instead of a Wheaties box, they should put them on the front of a Lucky Charms box. I just figured that one out. And then call them Lucky Charms and then have his face on the horseshoe.
You're awful.
Because there's a horseshoe up for Lucky Charms.
I'm well aware. And the Colts horseshoe,
yeah. Make the Indianapolis Colts themed Lucky Charms.
General Mills, if you're listening.
You are welcome.
Yes, there you
Marketing right there for you.
Oh, man. Well, thank you, David. It's always a pleasure. We appreciate your insights into the NFL. And we will be speaking with you again next week, as we always do, for your fantasy football insights. Good luck to your fantasy team and all of the other football paraphernalia that you support over the weekend and your college football and all that jazz. So thanks again, and we'll be speaking to you again next week.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
No problem. David Kenyon, the encyclopedia of all things football here on the Bax and Grand Sports Show. Always love speaking with him. Really fast before we go to a break, somebody on Periscope asked, Chargers, Browns, who wins? I've got the Chargers winning this game. How about you?
Yeah, just Phillip Rivers. You can't count him out, but still, the Chargers. I mean, you never know.
Both
And
are 1-2.
You got Johnny Manziel, and
is he starting again?
I don't know if he's starting, but apparently some
think so.
players have come out to TMZ anonymously and said that
Nothing is anonymous with TMZ.
Well, they've come out anonymously. TMZ isn't naming them, but they've quoted that they think that it's explicit that Johnny Manziel is not starting, especially with all the rehab that he's been doing and how he turned his life around and everything.
Oh.
They think he should start.
Put him in, Coach. Put him in. All right, we're going to a break. We'll be right back. This is the Bax and Grand Sports Show. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I am Bax.
And this is Grant.
All right. Time to get a little bit of an insight into the world of the NFL, as we always do. Talking to, well, we just talked to David Kenyon. That's who we talked to.
Yes.
And now we are going to venture over to fansided.com and look at the NFL quarterback rankings for Week 3. They've gone through and listed.
For Week 3. For Week 3.
I always hate that.
Are you kidding me?
Some people, Grant, don't have manners, and Fansided apparently seems to be one of those sites.
This person lives in Boston. I will guarantee that.
Possibly. I'm not about to creep to find out. So we're going to just look
am.
No. He's a New Yorker. He said he's from New York.
Hey, there you go.
But was forced to become a Kansas City Chiefs fan by his father. It's a tough life to live.
But he lives in that area. I'm counting it. Because he lives on the East Coast. East Coasters always stick together.
All right. Well, we're going to look at the top 15 quarterbacks according to Fansided.com's NFL section this week. So, number 15, they have Drew Brees. Number 14, Russell Wilson. Number 13, Peyton Manning. Those three quarterbacks are not awful. I mean, Peyton Manning, I feel like, has played fairly well. He had a good showing against the Lions. Right. Russell Wilson did enough for the Seahawks to beat the Bears, but didn't do much. Drew Brees was with that injury, so I don't think he played. He didn't play last week. So.
No, he did. But it's not ranking them off of their last week performance.
No, this is like the power rankings of quarterbacks, basically. And then Andrew Luck closes up at number 12 as well. Luck and the Colts, let's be honest, they're a bit of a hot mess right now.
Oh, you're telling me.
Yeah,
you are telling me.
You're straight out of quarterbacks.
Straight out of No, I'm not straight out of quarterbacks because you want to know who I have.
Who do you have?
I have Andy Dalton riding my bench so hard, but he has the 3 highest points in fantasy.
Put him in, Coach. Why are you dinking around? Put him in.
Because Andrew Luck is my starter.
All right, man.
He's my number 1.
He's my quarterback.
It's my quarterback.
Exactly. All right, number 11 here on Fansided's top quarterbacks through Week 3. Tyrod Taylor, looking real good.
I like him.
Tyrod Taylor is rated higher than Eli Manning. Eli Manning is number 10 on this list, and Matthew Stafford is number 9. I mean, I feel like Tyrod's done the best out of those three quarterbacks.
Honestly, yeah. Look at who has, I guess because the Giants and the Bills have the same record, correct?
Bills are 2-1.
2. Okay, so the Bills have the better record. Okay, excuse me.
Lions
for some reason,
0-3,
I thought they were
Giants
1-2. I thought they were both 1-2 for some reason.
I believe the Giants are 1-2.
No, the Giants are 1-2.
Yes.
I know that for a fact. But yeah, so Tyrod Taylor has led his team to more victories.
Yep.
Yes, he has thrown a lot of picks. He had the 4 touchdowns one game, but then he went and turned around in the same game and threw 3 interceptions. But that comes with a young quarterback.
It does.
He
hasn't had a starting opportunity.
Right, and for a young quarterback who has never started in the National Football League and to open up the season to 2-1 and that one loss being to the Patriots.
A shootout against the Patriots.
Still, and they made it close at the end of that game. So he is showing some very impressive things, especially coming from a young talent like himself.
Speaking of young talent, the number 8 and 7 on Fansided.com's top quarterbacks through Week 3. This is their power rankings for their quarterbacks in the NFL. Number 8 is Marcus Mariota. Number 7 is Derek Carr.
Derek Carr? Young talent? Really?
He's a second-year guy.
But no, talent is the questionable part.
I think Derek Carr is very talented as a quarterback. He's making Oakland relevant.
Yes. I mean,
if I had to choose between Derek Carr and Mariota there, Mario, between to win a game for me, I would choose Carr.
Would you? I would choose Mariota.
Well, we'll have to duel it out then, and when we get Madden 16.
Fisticuffs.
We'll have to take it. We'll have to do that. If we get Madden 16, we'll have a Bax and Grant Sports Show Madden tournament.
Oh, that'd be great. Yes. I'll lose so hard.
I had a mini tournament with Connor Christensen and Corey Plath last night. It was fun.
Oh, nice.
We played Madden 15. We played randomized, so we would randomize the teams for 10 seconds and then stop. And then whoever was winning at halftime would stay, and then we would start over and switch the game.
Fun.
Corey destroyed everybody. It was awful.
Why am I not surprised?
It was awful.
I'm really not surprised.
Well, the teams I got stuck with, I got stuck with the Bears.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I got stuck with the Titans.
Oh.
And I got stuck with, oh my gosh, who was the other team? I won one game. I beat Connor in one of the games. I can't remember the last team, but I won.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
It was like the Buccaneers or somebody like that.
I beat Connor 28-21. and a half in one half of football.
Oh, jeez.
No defense. At
Shootout.
all. It was bad. All right, number 6 here on Fansided.com's top quarterback rankings through week 3. Phillip Rivers at number 6, Andy Dalton at 5, Carson Palmer 4, Matt Ryan 3. Well, I feel like Carson Palmer should be number 3, not 4, personally. Andy Dalton, yeah. Phillip Rivers, I don't know if he's playing okay, but I don't feel like Phillip Rivers is a top 6 candidate right now.
Yeah, I would be okay with having Phillip Rivers there. I think a lot of it with the team, with the Chargers, it's more the team, not Phillip Rivers. So I'm not going to put a lot of that on Phillip Rivers. The man just has to deal with being on a crappy team year after year after year.
That's true.
But I definitely agree with you with Matt Ryan. I don't think Matt Ryan is in the top 3 for best quarterbacks. I would put Carson Palmer and Andy Dalton above him right now. Especially you have to look at, so if you're looking at just this season alone, Matt Ryan is with a Falcons team that we've said it a couple times now has a extremely weak schedule.
They do. I would be shocked if they win less than 13 games this year. I'd be absolutely shocked.
I don't know how you could. I think out of all the teams, the Falcons probably have the best chance of going undefeated this year. But not because Matt Ryan is an elite quarterback.
Yes.
I think Matt Ryan is up there with Phillip Rivers, Eli Manning status of tier of quarterback. So you have,
I would call those guys great because I have 3 quarterback scales. I have 4, but I have elite, great, good, and just stop playing football.
I'd put them somewhere.
I'd put them as a great quarterback.
Okay, I put them on lower end of great.
I feel like because my elite quarterbacks are Brady and Rodgers. I think Manning's fallen out of the elite category now.
Well, currently,
right now.
as of all
right
time,
now.
Yes, right now, currently, I would say so. Yes, he's not as reliable as an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady.
Agreed. Yes, no, I'd agree with you on that one, and that makes up our last 2 on this Fansided.com's Week 3 edition of their quarterback rankings. Number 2 is Aaron Rodgers, and number 1 is Tom Brady. Yes,
I highly disagree.
Tom Brady has thrown 9 touchdowns and no interceptions. He has thrown for a league-high 1,112 passing yards. Those of you that are Packer fans know that Aaron Rodgers threw for over 300 yards and 5 touchdowns in one game. Not exactly sure the argument here for Brady over Rodgers, because Rodgers has beaten far better teams, but everyone's got an opinion, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I just think Aaron Rodgers is a general overall better quarterback.
Agreed.
But hey, if I had the choice between somebody a lesser quarterback and Tom Brady, I would choose Tom Brady every day. I'm not saying that Tom Brady is not an elite quarterback, because he definitely is.
Yes.
I'm just saying he's not the best. I would say he's for sure a solid second best quarterback in the NFL.
Fair enough. No, I agree with you on that one. All right, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, Connor Christensen will be on the line talking about his fight corner. Don't go anywhere. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I am Bax.
And this is Grant.
All right, Grant. Well, we are excited because it is Thursday, which is a great day.
It's Flipadelphian Thursday.
Yeah. That also means that Connor Christensen is on the show. Yeah.
Cue intro music.
Intro music. Awesome, manly music for Connor Christensen. Like Tim Allen from whatever that was, Tool Time. Anyway, morning, Connor. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. And that was Home Improvement, by the way, the Tim Allen show.
Wasn't it? What was? Well, Tool Time is the name of the show on Home Improvement.
I knew it was Home Improvement.
It was the same.
I knew what he was talking about.
Toolman Taylor.
Yes, Tim the Toolman Taylor. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, well, Connor, it is Thursday, which means we usually talk about your fight corner. So what do you got for us today, bud?
I've got two things.
Okay.
First of all, I have some Ronda Rousey news.
Woo!
Because you guys love to hear about her. So
Yeah, we do. She's great.
You know,
Ronda is bae.
yes, she is. But I was looking at some news articles this morning, and I discovered that, because last time I came on the show, I talked about how the Cyborg said that she doubted Ronda Rousey would be randomly drug tested and all that, and Ronda wouldn't like that, and yada yada, calling her out and whatever.
Ooh.
I have found out that Rousey has been drug tested 5 times in the last year.
And how's that gone for her?
She's the most drug. She is the
She's the
highest.
most drugged?
Had the highest amount of drug tested.
Well, I would assume so.
I should say.
Well,
Yeah, she has the highest amount because she's like the most dominant.
right. I'm not surprised
So
by that at
people-
all.
Yeah. No, but they rarely release these things, like who's being tested and when.
Sure.
They don't normally say these things, and even if people fail drug tests, they still don't tell you. So, and it was just a nice little piece of news. Like, okay, Chris, Cyborg, I see you, but Rousey has been drug tested several times, so you can kind of go away.
I think people will collectively clap for that. I think that's exciting that Ronda is not having to worry about that. So, well done, Ronda. We're excited for you passing your drug test.
Yeah. And another bit of fun news that Grant probably doesn't know. Baxter, you and I talked about this yesterday, but a younger Ronda Rousey used to want to go and get Frappuccinos.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
You
Hey,
did.
Starbucks
You did,
is a
yeah.
drug, okay?
I read the article yesterday. I saw it's like
Yeah.
she used to fight
Yeah,
for
so
Frappuccino. I'm like,
for the listeners, she and her friend would go and they would challenge random guys to fights for extra cash. And these guys thinking that, it's just, who's this random girl who's coming up and wants to fight me for money? All right, sure, I'll beat you up for money, which is some kind of weird guy who would
I know.
fight a woman
I mean,
for
if you
money.
saw
I don't
Ronda
know.
come
That
up
doesn't
to
make
you
sense to me.
on the street and be like, "Yo, boy, I want to fight you for a Frappuccino," I'd be like, "Nah, you can just have it. I'll go buy you one." Like, totally
we can
fine.
just shake
Seriously.
hands and I'll get it for you.
At least I could do.
Give me a hug at least.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
call
right.
it a day, but don't choke me
But,
out when you do it.
Moral of the story, they stood no chance against Miss Rousey.
course.
And she would win Frappuccino money by beating up these guys.
Frappuccinos are scrumptious, so she has every
Yeah.
right.
Ronda is bae and Frappuccino is...
Yeah, everybody agrees with you on that one.
Baxter just found the sound effects part of Spreaker, and he's just going kind of ham with it right now.
I've been having crowds
Oh,
cheering
yeah.
every time you say something wonderful, so I feel like that was necessary.
That's the one thing I miss about not being in the studio anymore. I can't hear the sound effects.
And that's the only. Well, we still enjoy your playful banter with us. All right. Well, you mentioned
That's good.
you mentioned Ronda, and you had somebody else
Yes.
for us as well.
I do have somebody else. He's an up-and-coming. He will be a big name. I guarantee it. Right now, he is 19 years old. Was born in Texas. His name is Sage Northcutt. And he will be having his UFC debut at UFC 192 in just a couple days here.
Okay.
And it's interesting because this guy's story is crazy. He's done a lot of things. He's won martial arts tournaments. He apparently has like 77 some world titles from martial arts tournaments by
Wow.
the time he was like 12 years old.
Holy cow. That's
Since
crazy.
the time he was 4, his dad made him do 250 push-ups and 250 sit-ups a day.
What?
Consecutively, or just
Years
before he went
later-
to sleep?
I don't know. I don't know what the regimen was. I was just
That's
reading.
doable.
some of
That's
his
still
bios
nuts for a
earlier.
4-year-old. Holy cow.
Yeah, and then years later, he's doing like thousands of push-ups and sit-ups a day.
Oh, I'm sure. If
And
you start at 250,
someone like me is like, you're going to destroy him by doing that. But this kid flourished under that. He doesn't eat sweets or anything bad. He eats rice, chicken, broccoli, everything good. He eats everything good. He doesn't. His diet is crazy on point since the time he was like 4 years old.
It's on fleek is the actual term. Connor.
I knew you were going to
It is
say
on
that
fleek.
because
The kids say on
you're
fleek.
just ratchet like that.
Can you say that?
Wait, what?
Nothing. Never mind. Keep going.
All right, moving on. So, he's like chiseled out of stone. He's 6 feet tall, 165 pounds. So he's a welterweight, and he looks like an amateur bodybuilder,
Okay.
like that kind of physique that judges would get in line to start critiquing.
Yes.
And so when he gave his information to Dana White, the president of the UFC,
Sure.
to be considered for the UFC.
Did he?
Dana White looked at him. He was like, "Oh man, look at the pretty boy who thinks he wants to fight.
Ooh.
That's funny." But
Then he crushed Dana
Dana
White.
White went to a Legacy MMA event and watched Northcutt just demolish the guy that he was fighting against. I saw that. I watched that fight the other day, and Northcutt looks really, really good. He's got great vision. He knows when to step up and when to back off. He's got great control.
Good pocket presence.
And,
Can read the defense well.
He held out the knockout, which is his favorite thing. He's won 5 fights of 5. He's undefeated, and so he wins. To that time, he had won all of them by knockout, but the guy that he was fighting against was a submission specialist who favored the rear naked choke. So Northcutt held out the knockout to defeat this guy with his own move, the rear naked choke, which he did do. He defeated his opponent with a rear naked choke just to prove that
He
he
took
could
his
do
own
his
move on him.
opponent's favorite
so
move.
like
That's just
he did that
brutal.
on purpose.
It's like, I'm
Like
going
to
to beat
make
you
a
by
point?
with his
He
signature.
held out the knockout. He held out the knockout so that he could finish his opponent using his opponent's favorite move.
That's just
Jeez.
brutal.
Now, Connor,
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
So when this, I'm forgetting his name, but because
Sage Northcutt?
Northcutt, that's
Thank
what
you.
it was. I was like,
not
couldn't remember.
North-
It was like some direction, but I couldn't remember. So when Northcutt went up to Dana White, and I was going to ask this earlier, handed like you were saying, wanted to
papers
get
and
into
such.
yeah. Did he ask to buy a vowel? Is that Vanna White? Get it?
Oh, I was like,
Vanna
where
White,
you?
Wheel of Fortune, Dana White, Vanna
I
White.
think you're done. Don't worry about him,
man.
Connor.
Grant.
Yes,
Grant, that was so bad.
That was absolutely awful.
you are welcome.
I don't know if I would
Oh.
take credit for that.
I'd like to buy a vowel.
I think I'm starting to feel a little queasy.
Yeah, well, it's a
That
good
was,
thing that we got to let you go anyway, Connor.
We-
So I'll
too bad-
save
yeah.
you from him.
Too bad we don't have the womp 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 sound effect for that one.
I'll have to search the database for that one. Good Lord. Well, Connor, thank you for your insights, as you do here on the Bax and Grand Sports Show, for your fight corner. We appreciate it. And as we always say, good luck to your Vikings this weekend. Kick some. I don't know who you guys are beating. Who you guys playing this week?
Broncos.
Kick the Broncos. Destroy them. You guys don't have your
Yeah.
mascot anymore. How do you feel about that?
There's contracts to bring him back. Don't worry.
What?
Okay.
Wait, what?
They lost their mascot.
Lost
they're
their
working on it.
mascot. Breaking news.
Yeah, we're working on it.
All right, get him back, Connor. You got him. Maybe you should apply for that.
Sign him.
Take him. Do it.
I should.
All right, cool, man. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Yeah, bye. All right, we're going to go to one more break. This is the Bax and Grand Sports Show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I am Bax. Grant had to take off, as he usually does on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On our last segment, he usually sneaks off to go to class, which is important. Go to class if you're listening to this and you're a college or high school student, or just elementary. I don't know how young or old our listening audience is. So stay in school, kids. Go to college, get a degree, make your parents proud. That's what I did. That's what I'm still trying to do. You should too. Before we go today, we wanted to highlight an article by Bleacher Report entitled Athletes You'd Love If They Changed Teams. Now, you've heard us talk about Laura Depta in the past about some of the articles she writes for Bleacher Report. She always does such a fantastic job with her list articles, so we thought it was only fair that we continue to keep the tradition going. So she has a nice list of players here that I would like to review and debate one way or another. So she has the first name on her list is Anthony Davis for Athletes You'd Love If They Changed Teams. I'll be honest, as someone that doesn't follow the NBA very closely, I don't know what the like or dislike of Anthony Davis is league-wide. I've never had a problem with him. He's one of those players that never really struck a nerve for me with how good or bad he plays. So the fact that he does play for New Orleans doesn't really affect me. So I have no problem with him. He can stay in New Orleans if he surely wants to. Next guy on the list is Giancarlo Stanton. He plays for the Miami Marlins. And the only reason I'm not a huge fan of him is because of his massive contract that he got. I believe it was a 10-year, $325 million contract. Baseball players have no business being paid that much money. I've always been a strong advocate for not massive contracts in baseball. The 10-year contract is never a good idea. Anything over 5 years is never a good idea because so many things can happen during a player's season and a career that the fact that you give them that much money and potential time on a team, I feel like never ends up working out well for him. So, Giancarlo Stanton, I don't like his contract. I don't mind him or the team he plays for, though. James Harden of the Houston Rockets, as we are going through an article from Bleacher Report talking about athletes you'd love if they changed teams. For me, once again, not a massive follower of the NBA, so I like James Harden. I think he gives Houston relevance, as we saw during the playoffs last season and towards the end of the regular season. James Harden was a fantastic player for that squad and really caused a big surge of excitement if you were a Houston fan. So once again, since I'm not a massive basketball follower, I don't know what the general feel around the league is for him, but from what I know about him, I've never had a problem with James Harden and the team and or what he represents. Now, this is an interesting one. Tony Romo of the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo, I do feel, would be greater liked if he did play for almost any other team aside from the Dallas Cowboys. Because, to be fair, most anybody that plays for the Dallas Cowboys is not usually liked nationwide if you are not a Cowboys fan. If you're in the media, most people love to write about Tony Romo because he provides good storylines. He's very good from a fantasy football perspective with his fourth quarter comeback percentages. But if Tony Romo played for almost any other team, I would definitely tolerate him a whole lot more than I already do. Now, this one's interesting. Dwayne Wade of the Miami Heat, as we are talking about athletes you'd love if they changed teams. I personally love Dwayne Wade. I've always followed Dwayne Wade. He was from Marquette University here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then when I lived down in Florida for a majority of my high school years, I followed the Miami Heat semi-closely because that was the thing to do down in Naples because we don't have a lot of professional teams around us. So Miami was one of those basketball teams I followed. So I grew to appreciate Dwayne Wade. He's never had any problems with me. The next guy on the list here, as my computer is loading, if it would like to load, there's a hockey guy in here, Patrice Bergeron. I know nothing about hockey, and Grant is not here, so I can't ask him for his opinion on that one. I feel like if he's on the list, though, he would probably be causing a row about whether or not he should be on the list. Scrolling through some of the other guys, Jason Witten. I think Jason Witten is one of the tight ends in the NFL that is liked by most folks. He's been with the team since the beginning. He got drafted by the organization. He's played very well with them. And I bet that Jason Witten, across the board, is fairly well liked by most NFL fans. You learn to respect talent in the NFL, and he's one of those guys that you want on your team. Obviously, any NFL team would kill to have a tight end like Jason Witten. I would love if Jason Witten played for the Green Bay Packers. I'm sure anybody would probably welcome him in with open arms. So I have no problem with Jason Witten, and I think that a majority of people around sports world don't mind the fact that he plays for Dallas. Nobody, I think when you mention the fact that, I play for the Dallas Cowboys or I play for the Chicago Bears, the Patriots, those teams automatically raise a bit of issue with most people just because they don't usually like the organization. So, but Jason Witten is one of those guys that you normally have to look past the organization and admire what he's done on the field and his off-the-field charity work also. Next guy on the list here from BleacherReport.com, athletes you'd love if they changed teams, is Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman is very interesting because people don't like the Patriots. It's obvious. It's very, very obvious. We saw all the issues with Deflategate. We saw all the issues with Tom Brady, as we know. And the Patriots have been ridiculed and accused, and yet have still managed to win Super Bowls left and right. Julian Edelman doesn't receive a lot of press because he's overshadowed by Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and Bill Belichick. And I think that in terms of his own likability, I feel people really enjoy him. He's one of those players for me. And I have such a different view, I feel like, as compared to most people when it comes to different players on teams. I've been one of those people where I respect talent and not necessarily the organization they play for. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the Bears organization. I'm not a huge fan of the Cowboys organization. That doesn't mean if they have good players on the team that I'm not going to respect them or follow them. So just because Matt Forte plays for the Chicago Bears doesn't mean that I'm going to turn the other cheek and be like, I don't like him. Not going to deal with it. And then rightfully so, one of the other names on this list, I'm skipping over some of the baseball guys and hockey guys on this team, or on this list just because the amount of knowledge I have on them is not very much, so I don't want to make myself sound like a fool for trying to figure that out. So the last guy on this list is Rob Gronkowski. And I'm sure if there's one phrase that you hear all the time is, I love Gronk, but I wish he didn't play for the Patriots, which is very true. There's no reason that you have to not want to like Gronkowski because the man is funny, he's talented, he lives the life I feel most people wish that they could live, and he is I've never had a problem with him, honestly. I've always been one of those people that I'm like, hey, Gronkowski, he plays for the Patriots, that's cool. He strikes me as a traditional Boston kind of guy. Like, that's just how he emanates. Like, when you look at Rob Gronkowski, you look at the life he lives, you look at who he is as a person, I'm like, yeah, Boston, I can see it. Makes sense. So, anyway, go and check it out. I will tweet that article out on our Twitter page, obviously, and I'll probably post it on Facebook as well. So, go ahead and check it out from Bleacher Report. Once again, athletes you'd love if they changed teams. So, thanks again to David Kenyon of Bleacher Report and the Sports Knot, and Connor Christensen for joining us here on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. And for you lovely listeners that have been watching us on Periscope, thank you. Appreciate all of you guys tuning in. And those of you that tuned in on Spreaker.com from 7 to 8 a.m. Central, as you can get us all Mondays through Fridays. You can also get us on SportsRadioAmerica.com, Live 365, and tune in from 11 to 1 p.m. Central Time. You can also get us on demand on iHeartRadio, iTunes, and on Spreaker.com as well. And if you want to interact with us on social media, go ahead and like our Facebook page, The Bax and Grant Sports Show. You can also follow us on Twitter at BG Sports Show. You can follow me at Baxter Colburn. Grant is at Grant's Rant BGSS. And we're also on Instagram at BG Sports Show as well. And if you ever want to get a hold of the show, shoot us an email at bgsportshow@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts about anything we talked about on the show today as well. If we have any questions you'd like us to ask our fantasy football expert, our fight corner guys, golf experts, soccer experts, we got them all on the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Don't ever feel scared to ask questions. We're here to help and happy to answer your questions. For Grant Coppersmith, I am Baxter Colburn. Thanks for tuning in to another edition. We'll see all of you again tomorrow. A lot of fun things coming up. You're not going to want to miss it. Sam Wallace will be here. Grant's got his rant. Probably be playing some sort of a quiz game as well, so you don't want to miss that one. Have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you all tomorrow.